everybody and welcome on today's video. Today I would like to do some work on this fusion field maple project. I'll give you a 360 to start with. So this is supposed to be the front, and as you see, the tree is not really leaning forward. It's not bad, it's straight. It could be better like this, and well, it's not doing bad, but we have to get this tree prepared for the growing season. So let's come a little closer and see what we can do. So first of all, to get the tree a little in a little better position, I'm going to put some blocks under it, and well, I'd like to have him just a little like this, and then tilt him forward like so. So this is not a whole lot, but it makes quite a difference, I think. So you see now he's leaning forward, which is a little better. And because he's leaning forward, the root spread is also a little better, because we can now see the roots in the back, like so. You see the roots here are visible now. So that's better. It's a nice root base. I planted a bunch of seeds here, but well, the mice found out, so yeah, that's not good. Well, okay, let's proceed. I'm going to try in this video to show you as good as I can what I did and why I did it. And how this tree went through a winter. So first of all, we have all these little trees that are starting to fuse, and you see that I have a big branch here, which might be an interesting branch for the side, and it's also going to hide a little bit of the trunk, I hope. But of course this branch is still wired, and I don't want any wire on my maples in the growing season. And you see also, because the wire was not strong enough to hold this branch where it should be, I just made a little guy wire here with a hook made of an old piece of thick wire. So I'm going to cut it off and see if it bounces back. 1, 2, 3. Did you see the hook? No, you didn't see the hook. This is the hook. Yeah, that's when you zoom in too much. Okay, so I'm going to cut here. Well, you see it came back a little. This is the hook, just hooked it under the pot. And the wire was not fixed to the branch, but to the wire here, which is of course less stressful for the tree. So I'm going to unwire this little branch now, and then we'll see how it goes. So I'm going to hurry up. Most of the time I try to wire as I should, with 2 wires, with 1 wire on 2 branches, I'm sorry. And then, well, I'll be back when this branch is unwired, and maybe you will see if it has moved or not. I'm trying not to move the camera, so let's do that. Okay. Yeah, of course I bumped the camera, so I had to do it over. So, well, I think it's staying quite well where it's supposed to stay. Now the good thing is that I don't have any straight portions here. It's because of the wiring. If you do not wire your trees, you will always end up with straight portions, especially on maples. And then, well, you will have to cut back hard every year before you get some movement, and well, it's just gonna take a whole lot of time. So now I can do some bud selection. This bud is not in a good position. I have a little twig here which serves no purpose. I'm gonna remove the final bud on every twig. Here I have 2 nice buds coming out, so I'm going to cut back up to here, a nice bud here, so, and this portion is quite straight, so I'm gonna get rid of that. I have two good buds here, so I'm gonna get rid of that portion. And here I have also two very good positioned buds, so I will keep this shorter. Okay, so let's unwire another piece, and well, we could have a look at this thing here, which is a tree that I added really this winter. You see, I even wired I wrapped the roots in raffia, because I wanted to keep all the roots and position them here, and the tree is now well positioned against the other trunks, and I put it there because I wanted to have a big branch in this spot. So this tree is really nothing more than a big branch. So it's starting to grow, so that's good, but I had to wire it quite heavily with electrical wire. So I'm going to get rid of that electrical wire, but I don't think that this will stay in position, because it hasn't been there a really long time. So maybe I'll just put a guy wire there, but that will mean that I cannot cut the branch where I want it, because the guy wire, oh, I missed this whole thing, so this branch, yeah, because the guy wire is going to cut in the branch. But if it's only in a portion that I'm going to cut off, it doesn't really matter. So I'm going to remove this wire completely. Strangely, this thing stays where it's supposed to stay, so that's very good. And if it does, well, I don't have to use a guy wire. Okay. Yeah, well, not bad. One winter wiring, and it stays almost where it's supposed to stay. Anyway, I think that this will be the new portion here. So I'm going to cut back up to here. I'm going to leave this portion. If I want to put a guy wire, I can still anchor it around here. So that's good. I'm wiring the rest now, like so. I'm not sure that this is alive. Yes, it is. Well, okay, very good. So maybe I can just put this behind here and see what it does when it starts to grow. I think I'm going to replace this piece of raffia by a piece of wire so that I have more tension. So I'm going to take a piece of wire, and then I'm gonna cut back this raffia here, which is always tricky. But it's okay. And then replace the raffia with this piece of wire, on which I can put quite a lot of attention. But you saw this before, so just making a little hook. Like so. First twist is always tricky. Before I apply any tension, I'm going to position this wire, of course, and now I can start twisting, compressing the whole thing with my hands so that I don't put too much pressure on the wire. The end broke off, but this is good. Okay, well, now you see that the branch bounced back. So I'm going to use this little hook that I had. I'm going to put it back, and I'm going to take a old piece of wire somewhere. This looks quite okay. I'm putting my little hook here under the pot. I'm going to bend the branch where I want it. Something like that. And now you see that this little stump here comes in very handy. So the branch is now where it's almost supposed to be. And this one will do very well. Okay, so I can cut it back here, because I have two nice buds there, and maybe even get some more budding. Okay, so I'm going to unwire the rest of the tree. Now I'm not going to bore you with that because there's quite a lot to unwire, and then I'll be back for the final trimming and shot. I removed all the wires now and most of the raffia. I'm just going to replace this last piece of raffia with a metal wire, because I think that's well, a little more elegant. This raffia is not really nice to look at, so just putting a little piece of wire here. And then I noticed that I did not position a branch very well, so I'm going to redo that. Just cutting it off and then tie it. Okay, a little bit more tension. So I cannot put a lot of tension here. I think this is done as far as fusion concerns. It's just this branch that is still loose, but here we have fusion. I'll give you a close-up in a couple of minutes to see how we are doing on the fusion. And once these trees begin to fuse, there's no going back. It's done. Now the branch that I wanted to reposition is this one, because you see this is the front, and I like to have a branch not only on the side but a little more in the front. So well, I can of course just move this this clamp here, this little hook, but I had another one coming loose with a small piece of wire, thin wire, which is a whole lot more attractive. So I'm going to use that, and I'm going to really overdo it. It's better this way, so you cannot see the thick wire. So now this branch is a little more in the front, which I like, because when it opens, it covers a little bit the front. You don't want some, well, like Walter Paul once said, exhibitionist tree that shows the entireness of its trunk. You want something more subtle. Okay, so what do we want? We want buds on the trunks to emerge. Now how can we achieve this? Well, by just cutting back everything that is starting to grow a little too vigorously. So especially at the top, you want to reduce everything. See, we have two buds here, but yeah, that's much better than this thing. And this is a little setback for the top, that's for sure, but the top is always very strong on the deciduous tree, especially on a maple, so you have to do something, otherwise your top's gonna get big and fat and you will not have new buds emerging. The little seedlings from last year can be shaded out. That's absolutely what you don't want at all. So, cutting back everything once or twice, it doesn't matter. This is a nice branch, but I can start the ramification here already. So this one might thicken a little because it's a low branch, and it will help the fusion here. Now, a little detail on pruning maples. Okay, I'm trying to zoom in to show you what maples typically do. So this is of course a fork from last year or even the year before. So what does this maple do? He makes buds all over the place. So we have a bud here, here, we have one here at the bottom, we have one here, we have one here. Now you can say, well, yeah, it's good, tree is alive, we have a lot of buds, lots of growing material, but if you do not cut back the ones you do not really need, you're gonna end up with a huge swelling, and you only need 2. So I think I removed 6 or 7 young buds here. Same at the other side here, you see. We have again one at the top, one at the bottom. Don't want one at the bottom. We have 2 here. So if I keep this one, it's going to make 3 branches emerging from the same spot. There's going to be a huge swelling in just one growing season. You don't want that. So this is something you have to keep in mind when you work with maples. They grow fast and strong. So you can always keep 2. Another possibility, for example, on this branch, you see, I'm trying to get this on camera, we have a branch here, 2 buds, and then further on we have again 2 buds. Now I can make a fork here by just removing 1 bud. So I'm going to take the one that's growing down. So what will happen now is that this is going to grow. I will have 2 here, and this will separate again in 2. So that's good. That's how you achieve ramification. I'm going to show you now that we don't have any fusion at the bottom part of this bonsai. You see, not really. It's starting here. Here we have a beginning. You see, this stump is going to push into this one. So this is coming together quite all right. And then we are back in the front. So I'm going to move the camera a little. And then we see here we have fusion. Well, it's a little higher up. Here the trunks are really close together. And so there's some fusion at the middle section. I'm going to move up a little more. Here we see definitely fusion. Same here, same here, same in this spot. And then we look at the top of the tree. And that's always quite spectacular, I think. So here you see that we have complete fusion. We don't see that these were separate trees. So, and here I had to remove a big chunk. And here I have even some reverse taper already. And that's because these trees are so dominant in the apex that you have to cut back quite hard on the top every year. So what I hope that will happen now is that the lowest branches, so especially this one and this one, will start to grow, will thicken, will start the fusion here, and that all the little ones are growing as well. So the little ones, I'm going to try not to touch them, and I hoped by pruning back quite hard to have some back budding even on the trunk. Field maples, they can do that. So that's what I hope. So I realized that it was not a very spectacular video, but I hope for the ones who are willing to try to do some fusion projects that it helped understand the principles of fusing. So let grow, cut back hard, cut back less. Don't cut in the growing season. Let it thicken so that you obtain fusion. Of course, fusion will be there. It is not possible otherwise. These trees are going nowhere because they're in the ground and they cannot come loose because the top is already fused. So there will be fusion eventually, but you want it to happen as fast as possible. So this is where we are now. Maybe in May or June I can give you an update on this to see how it did and how we can prove to improve this fusion. So in the meantime, thank you for watching and see you next time.